Hare Krishna. So this is the series titled Vandanam, and the first series we are going to touch upon is Gajendra Moksham. So prayers, when I talk about prayers, what are prayers? So prayers is not merely an eloquent uh, words that are spoken uninterruptedly. Prayer is a connection with the divine. It's a state of consciousness. And what is the power of prayers? It is by the power of one pure devotee's prayers that today we are all together here and discussing this session. If you truly wish to understand what prayers are, our scriptures are full of prayers. If you appreciate the prayers of Srila Prabhupada, the prayers written on Jaladuta, Markine Bhagavati Dharma, we understand what it takes to approach the Supreme Lord in full surrender and humility. A heart surrender to the Supreme Lord. So this is prayers. So prayers, when we study the prayers of great devotees, we have a vision into their heart. If not, it becomes an impossible task to understand what is the consciousness of great devotees. It is by reading these prayers, appreciating these prayers, we come into contact with their divine consciousness, that consciousness which has actually pleased the Lord, which has won the heart of the Lord. So as we know, Srimad Bhagavad Gita declares Bhakti Yoga to be the topmost. Yoginam api sarvesham mat gatir antaratmanaha. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam te me yuktamamataha. Yeah, Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. So this bhaja implies, offering one's devotion to the Lord. So in this way, in the 6th chapter, the final verse, Lord Krishna declares Bhakti Yoga to be the topmost path to approach him. And this Bhakti Yoga is performed through the 9 processes. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam. There are 9 processes of devotional service, beginning from hearing and chanting. And one of these 9 processes is Vandanam. And our scriptures elaborate that great devotees who have taken up any of these paths have attained perfection. Like Parikshit Maharaj has attained perfection. How did he attain perfection? By which anga?
By hearing.
Yes, by Shravanam. By Kirtanam, Shukadev Goswami has attained perfection. So there are so many examples of great souls who have merely attained perfection by taking up one of these paths. So prayer is not simply something that is uttered when one is helpless. Srila Prabhupada highly recommended that prayer become one's, daily sadhana. Just as our daily sadhana, since all of you who have come together here are devotees. So prayers are not merely uttered, when one is in need or when one is in a helpless state or when one is wanting something. Prayers are a matter of regular cultivation. Just like every day we chant, every day we hear. So prayers are to be also made a regular sadhana. So what we are hearing today is not a mere one-time inspiration. It is a habit which we consciously cultivate. That's what we are looking at. How to integrate prayers as a part of our daily sadhana. So this is much deeper than merely appreciating and being inspired. It's a habit. It's a cultivation. In fact, it is this cultivation that has helped Gajendra in his crisis. When he was thrown into a helpless condition, and there was no one to rescue him. It is the prayers that he has offered in his past life. Yeah, the culture of uh, vandanam that he has cultivated in his previous life, that actually came to rescue him. This is the importance of integrating vandanam or prayers as a part of our daily sadhana. So let me share PPT with you. So this is what Srila Prabhupada has personally recommended. Yeah, that personal prayers should be part of our daily sadhana. Yeah. And if you open Srimad Bhagavatam as a book is actually a collection of so many prayers. See, right from the first canto, the prayers of Queen Kunti, then there is Bhishma Stuti. Yeah, then there is Rudra Gita, there is Aila Gita, there is Hamsa Guhya prayers, then there's prayers by Vedas personified, then there's Gopi Gita, then there is Brahmara Gita. Yeah. What not? The whole Bhagavatam is full of prayers. Yes, prayers by Prahlad Maharaj, prayers by Dhruva Maharaj. Yeah, all these are ecstatic when you actually enter into the mood of these prayers. And no matter what your situation is, where you're placed, you might be having the most, base material desire. But still, when you approach the Lord in a mood of humble submission and expression of one's true intent, one is uplifted from the lower level of consciousness to a higher level of consciousness. So, Skanda Purana is saying that when it is speaking about the glories of prayers, it is stated that devotees whose tongues are decorated always with prayers to Lord Krishna are always given respect even by great saintly persons and sages. And such devotees are actually worshipable by the demigods. Yeah. In what happens when we recite prayers, when we memorize prayers, and when we repeat these prayers, they become a part of our, mental space. There's something called perceptual space, what you're perceiving. That perceptual space becomes so purified when you're repeating prayers. Yeah, oftentimes this perceptual space is quite cluttersome. We keep thinking of the fight that has happened recently, or the list of to-do things, or some anxieties, or some regrets, or some depression, or many such thoughts. That's what the contents of our perceptual space are. But what does prayers do? They cleanse our perceptual space, and they fill them with such positive energy. They fill them with elements that connect us to the divine. Yeah. So that's what prayers do to a personality. So what is Narsimha Puran saying? It is stated that any person who comes before the deity of Lord Krishna and begins to chant different prayers is immediately relieved from all the reactions of sinful activities and becomes eligible to enter the Vaikuntha Loka. So especially when we come in front of the deities, oftentimes many devotees ask me this question. When we go in front of the deities, what should we pray? We take a lot of effort to travel from one place to holy tirthas. Yeah, let's say if you go to Tirupati, you're in front of the Lord hardly for a few seconds. Yeah. Of late, if you have visited Vrindavan, oh my God, to get the darshan of the Lord, the deity, it's an achievement, because most of the devotees returned without darshan. Yeah, this is the current status. Yeah. And so when you actually are standing in front of the Lord, in front of the deities, what kind of prayers are we supposed to offer? Yeah. So some devotees ask, can we make our personal requests? Can we ask for something, or does it come under a contradiction to pure devotional service? So these are many, many thoughts, questions devotees have regarding offering prayers. So I will definitely talk about this towards the later part of the session. What is the right approach in which a devotee should offer prayers? So when you come in front of the deities and when you offer prayers, it definitely pleases the Lord so much. The Lord is another name of Lord Krishna is Uttama Shloka, one who is glorified by the choicest of verses. Yes, one who is glorified with the choicest of verses. Yesterday we just celebrated Nityananda Trayodashi. So it is said that, Anantasesh, with all his tongues as pens and the sky as a paper, would have to jot down the glories of the Lord. And if he would have to speak about the glories of the Lord, in his entire lifetime, he wouldn't sufficiently be able to glorify the activities performed by Lord Chaitanya one day. Yeah. So this is the infinite nature of the Lord's glories. It's difficult to fathom with our intelligence. And it's not something too fantastic. It's the reality. It's not a hyperbole. It's the truth. That is what scriptures are. Scriptures don't, uh, you know, they're not something which make up things. They speak about reality. So here today we're going to discuss about Gajendra Moksha, and the next several sessions are going to be about the prayers offered by Gajendra when he was in crisis. So who is Gajendra, and why is he in this condition that we are seeing? Yeah. So eons ago, there's a huge mountain called the Trikuta Mountain. This Trikuta Mountain, Bhagavatam is stating, is about 80,000 miles in height. What is this 80,000 miles? It's very difficult to understand, because if you see the aeroplane flying, it's 8 miles from ground level. That's the maximum it can fly. So this Trikuta mountain is situated 80,000 miles in height, and 80,000 miles is its height, its length, and its breadth. That's how huge this mountain is. So this mountain is a place which is situated amidst an ocean of milk. Ocean of milk. So what we are perhaps acquainted with is ocean of salt. That's what we know. But in other realms, there are oceans of milk, there are oceans of liquor, there are oceans of ghee, there's ocean of sweet water. So there's many different types of oceans that have been described in the Bhagavatam. So Srila Prabhupada highly recommends that if you want to know about what's happening in other planets, rather than making gross endeavors, when you simply, approach Bhagavatam and other scriptures, we get a ready-made information. Saves a lot of time. So this is our Trikuta mountain, which is a place where most of the demigods come to have a very good time. Like when we want to have a good time, we go to a beach. Yeah, and it's a salt water ocean. We can't do much with the water there. But when demigods want to have fun, these are the places they go. These are the holiday destinations. Trikuta mountain, which is surrounded by the ocean of milk. And what happens is when this waves of this ocean touch the mountain, the base of the mountain, because of this, a reaction is caused and emeralds are produced. So this is the beauty of the heavenly planets. Yeah, and that's the reason why Maharaj Khatwanga said that I would want to go to earth to actually remember God, because in heavenly planets it's too difficult to focus with dependence and surrender on the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So on this Trikuta mountains, there were different peaks and valleys. were peaks made of iron, gold, silver. Yeah. And the valleys had caves in which, different demigods along with their family came and they had fun and frolic. So, and it had many lakes and ponds which were full of beautiful lotuses. And very elaborately, Bhagavatam 8th canto describes about the variegatedness of the fauna and the flora, the kind of animals that were around this place, and the kind of trees, the kind of fruits, the kind of flowers. Very rich description. Very, very rich description. Many verses are dedicated to describe this beautiful picture of Trikuta mountain. So at this Trikuta mountain, Gajendra, who was the great elephant, very majestic, he was walking down along with his family members, his consorts, his wives, his children, and his attendants, and very regally, very royally, one fine day, he was just walking down and he was uh, drooling and dripping the intoxication in the liquor that he has consumed. So he was in an intoxicated state. So his gait was not very straight. So he was just walking down along with his family members. And the reason is he was trying to find a lake because being exhausted with the fun they had, he wanted to have some water. He was feeling dehydrated after the intoxication. So that's how Gajendra walked down along with his family members, and he finally reached the lake. So he entered the lake and he just galloped lots of water. The water was sweet, and he was playing around. Yeah, he with his trunk, he just grabbed a lot of water and just splashed it on his kids and on his wives. So it was real fun time. And it was at that time, it was at that time that slowly a crocodile came in and it caught the feet of Gajendra. So Gajendra was in pain, in agony. He couldn't release himself from the grip of the crocodile, no matter how much he tried. Yeah. So the crocodile pulled Gajendra deep into the middle of these waters. And Gajendra tried his best to release himself from the grip of the crocodile and tried to move towards the bank. Yeah. But the unfortunate situation is that although Gajendra was very strong as an elephant, because an elephant is known for its strength, he could not release himself from the grip of a crocodile because he's now in water. So water is not his kshetra. Had it been the same thing on the ground, then Gajendra would have been stronger. Yeah, but now that he is in the kshetra of the crocodile, he was not equally strong. So I guess Kanika was asking me this question about Varnashrama. So when one is situated in one's territory, yeah, so one can express one's full potential. And so is it in the case of Varnashrama. When you're situated in your appropriate Varna Dharma and Ashrama Dharma, you can express your full potential. Yes. So here is Gajendra, who is not situated in his territory, and hence he was in a weak state. Yeah, he couldn't combat. He couldn't utilize his full strength. But the crocodile is, water is its territory. So because of which it had that winning edge and it didn't release Gajendra. So in this way, when the crocodile caught Gajendra, he didn't release him, and it went on for Few hours, few days, few months, few years, many, many years passed, and still the same situation continued. Gajendra was not released from the grip of the crocodile. And in this way, 10,000 years passed. And the demigods were a little amazed. How come 10,000 years? And the same situation is continuing. Yes. So in this way, Gajendra started losing hope. He became weaker by the day. And he slowly understood that my wives, my associates, my friends, my relatives, whom I had so much faith on, with whom I spent all my life, they're not going to help me. They cannot. And I'm unable to help myself. So this is, the game-changing situation in one's life. Yes. When one relieves oneself of this artificial dependence on the infallible soldiers, that's what Prabhupada used to call them, infallible soldiers. The fallible soldiers. Yeah, the soldiers, they're on the battle, but they can hardly help us. And when we turn our dependence completely on the Supreme Lord, that's when everything starts changing in one's life. So this is what exactly happened with Gajendra in this helpless situation. So at this helpless situation, he turned to the Lord. And initially, when he turned to the Lord, he was not sure of whom he is praying to. Yeah. And then from somewhere, he got that remembrance. And what is it somewhere, and how did he get that remembrance? And what is his prayer? Let me share that. This is the very first verse, comes in the yeah. 8th canto, 3rd chapter and 1st verse. Shri Badarayana Ruvacha. Who is Badarayana? Shukadev Goswami. Another name is Badarayana. एवं व्यवसितो बुद्ध्या समाधाय मनोहृदि जजापा परमं जाप्यं प्राग्जन्मन्यनुशिक्षितम्. So what does it translate into? Sri Shukadev Goswami, he said, the king of elephants, Gajendra, fixed his mind in his heart with perfect intelligence. Yeah. And chanted a mantra which he had learned in his previous birth as Indradyumna, by which he remembered the grace of Krishna. So this is a very interesting picture that you see here. It's a very interesting painting. If you see the details, I don't know what you have observed, but we will talk about this maybe towards the end of our session. Here is Garuda and here is the Lord, but the Lord is not on Garuda. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Yeah. So Shukadev Goswami is saying the king of the elephants, Gajendra, he fixed his mind. He fixed his mind with perfect intelligence and chanted. This is very, very important. The technical word here is samadhaya manohridi. Yeah, samadhaya manohridi. There are two things that makes the prayer impactful. One is the attitude in which the prayer is offered, and second is the regular cultivation that went behind the situation. One is it. Yeah. Samadhaya manohridi. So this is what made the prayers of Gajendra successful. Yeah, the prayer that was actually heard by the Lord. That is, he prayed by fixing his mind and intelligence on the Supreme Lord with his heart. That is, not mechanically, not by repeating some words, by actually, with feeling of surrender, with feeling of dependence, by humbling oneself with total absorption and with no elements of being mechanical. This is how Gajendra offered his prayer. And pragjanmani anusikshitam. This is another important word here. Anusikshitam. That which he has learned in the previous birth. Yeah, so in this purport, Srila Prabhupada recommends that is why every devotee should learn prayers. Yeah, memorize, select some your favorite verses from Srimad Bhagavatam or from any valid scripture and memorize them. Get into the mood of these prayers and repeat these prayers. And this memorization actually becomes a part of your consciousness, and it will stay with you birth after the birth, and it can save you from greatest dangers. That's how Gajendra was saved. In his previous birth, he was Indradyumna. Yeah. So there's this story here. So this King Indradyumna was king in the Dravida province. And he was a great devotee of the Lord in his previous birth. And he has done a lot of sadhana. And one day he was sitting at a place and he was totally absorbed in the Supreme Lord in meditation. And he was so absorbed that he did not realize the great Agastya Muni has come. So Agastya Muni, seeing that the king did not acknowledge his presence, cursed him. Yeah. He cursed him that may you just become an elephant. Why? Because elephant represents a dull animal. Yeah, a foolish animal. Why it's dull and foolish? Because although it had so much strength, a single person can actually subdue it, who is, 1/100th of its strength. It is subdued by somebody who's much weaker than itself. That's why elephant is considered dull. And its entire absorption is about eating. So, and anybody who does not observe the right etiquettes, if you see the entire Bhagavatam or Ramayana or Mahabharata, or any scripture for that matter, if one who does not observe the right etiquettes and thereby offends a great personality is always in a soup and is often always receiving curses. Yeah. So be it the Damodar Leela in which Nalakubera and Manigriva, who were indifferent to the presence of Nagmuni, they were cursed. Yeah, Indra was cursed by Brihaspati because he didn't acknowledge his presence. Parikshit Maharaj was cursed, Shringi. So similarly here, Indradimna was cursed by Agastya Muni. Yeah, may you become an elephant in your next birth. So interestingly, Indradimna, because of being a devotee of the Lord, gracefully accepted this curse without retaliation. Because of that attitude, Agastya Muni then continued saying, so in your next birth as an elephant, the Lord himself will come to deliver you. So this is the beauty of the curse of great souls. Because of this curses, oftentimes a person is protected from wasting so many births. Yeah, in one single birth, they attain perfection and go back to Godhead. And that was actually what happened in Gajendra's life. Yeah, after all this turmoil at the end of his life, he attained Sarupya Mukti. Yeah, we might be thinking a king and then an elephant. The body of elephant is not something very beautiful. But because of the prayers he recited, he attained what is called Sarupya Mukti. Sarupya means he's attained the same bodily features as the Lord and he went back to Godhead. What a great destination. And this is the result of the curse of Agastya Muni. So when a great personality curses, it actually brings auspiciousness into the lives of different people. And so Gajendra was in danger, and although he was in a body other than that of human being, he remembered the stotra. Yeah. To enable one to achieve perfection, Krishna gives one the chance to remember him again. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So this is the mercy of the Lord. Lord Krishna protects. So when we say Lord Krishna protects, what does it mean? Yeah, sometimes we see devotees around us suffer. Yeah, suffering because of ill health or some deadly diseases, or maybe, materially a disastrous condition. Then we begin to question. You say Krishna protects. How is Krishna protecting this person? So Krishna protects a person's devotion. Yeah. Just as, Bharat Maharaj has performed, such exalted devotional service, he even attained the stage of bhava, but he fell down into the body of a deer. But Lord Krishna gave him the remembrance of the past life. And that's why he carried on his devotional service, rectified his mistake. So, this is the mercy of the Lord. This is the protection of the Lord. So, I will just end today's session by actually giving you a way of inculcating prayers in our daily sadhana. So we see through this life of Gajendra what is the significance of cultivating prayers, and how it has actually rescued him in the most dangerous situation of life. Yeah. So the book Vandanam, written by His Holiness Satsvarup Maharaj, it describes that prayers are to be offered with four elements. So what are the four elements of effective prayers? Number one is glorification. Number two is gratitude. Number three is supplication. And four is seeking forgiveness. So, how do we understand this? So, when you approach the Lord or you're standing in front of the deities, or when you meet the Lord face to face, yes, the first thing you need to do is offer glorification, praise. Why? That's the position of the Lord. Yeah, by offering appropriate and suitable glorification, even at the sadhaka level, actually puts us out of our egoistic positions. It makes one acknowledge the position of the Lord, the supreme nature of Lord Krishna, or whomever you're offering your prayers to. Yeah. What does it do? Immediately you're out of the ego shell. You're rightly situated. And no matter in which situation you are, you see this in the life of Draupadi so beautifully. When she was living in Kamyavan, after the whole episode of humiliation had taken place in the Asat Sabha, and post that event, Pandavas along with Draupadi, they reach Kamyavan. That's the first destination. And at that time, Lord Krishna, and along with other devotees, they come, uh, you know, to catch up with them. So then Draupadi sees Lord Krishna, incessant tears start flowing out of her eyes. It's unimaginable the amount of pain that was gripping her heart. Imagine what she has been through, the worst humiliation. Until then, she didn't speak one word. Yeah, and the moment she sees Krishna, it was like avalanche of grief that was just flowing out of her eyes. And when she approached Krishna, the Mahabharata, gives the beautiful verses in which she first glorifies Krishna and his position. There are, at least 20 verses, 20, 30 verses where she simply glorifies, oh Lord Krishna, you are the supreme controller, the maintainer, the well-wisher of every living entity. You are beyond the three modes. You're unborn, you're eternal. Yeah. With all the choicest words, she glorifies Lord Krishna. And then she begins to express her pain after having suitably glorifying Krishna. So, but oftentimes when we are in pain and distress, we begin to ask the Lord, Krishna, I've been chanting for so long. You know, what did you do to me? Where were you when I was going through this? So here's where understanding this systematic sequence of approaching the Lord in the right attitude is so important for every devotee. No matter in which condition we are in, happiness or distress, pain or pleasure, when you approach the Lord for offering prayers, first offer appropriate glorification and praise. This is the first step. And step two, the next, from this glorification, we progress into the realm of offering gratitude. Yeah. So in glory, we see, this in Bhagavad Gita, if you see the Arjuna offers such glorification to Krishna on seeing his form as the Vishwarupa, the 11th chapter. Parabrahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adidevam, Ajam, Vibhum. No, these are beautiful words. Arjuna starts glorifying Lord Krishna. In fact, the entire 11th chapter is very rich with such amazing glorification of Lord Krishna's Vishwarupa form. Yeah. And then offering gratitude. The next aspect is offering gratitude. So when one offers gratitude, one's heart softens. Yeah. And one begins to recognize the mercy of the Lord. Queen Kunti, when she has approached Lord Krishna offering prayers, she prays that, my dear Lord, it is by your mercy, your presence, in this Hastinapur, that, the oceans are full of minerals. The fruits are, the trees are full of fruits and flowers. Yeah, the cows are giving milk. The whole soil is so fertile. And the seasons are so much in place. So this whole nature is working in bounty and in fullness. It's because of your gracious presence. So this is expression of gratitude. Yeah. So after having glorified the Lord and having expressed gratitude, then, a devotee moves into the realm of offering one's personal prayers, expressing one's distress. So this is what here Gajendra is doing. Gajendra is expressing his distress. Please relieve me from this painful condition. So prayers does not mean that there is no room for expressing one's personal thoughts or personal desires. Yeah, in the state of conditioned life, we do have our own desires, which are not necessarily highly devotional, but they are accepted. Yeah. Lord Krishna himself says, Chaturvidha bhajanti mam janano sukruti. Sukrutis. Yeah. 4 types of people approach me. Artho arthati jigyasu jnanischa bharatarshava. Yeah. So Gajendra could offer prayers at this time because he had the sukruti that he gained by his whatever he has cultivated in his previous life. Because he had that sukruti, at the time of need, he could turn to Krishna and offer prayers. Without that sukruti, a person might merely go through the greatest hurdles of life and suffer it, and then again come out of the suffering and again continue the cycle. Yeah, punarapi jananam, punarapi mananam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Yeah, the whole cycle continues. If one is not has gathered enough sukruti in his life. So because Gajendra had the sukruti, at the time of crisis, it fructified and he got the remembrance given by Lord Krishna. So expressing one's personal desires and thoughts and seeking favors acceptable, and Krishna appreciates that. You have this desire, but you came to me and I will definitely reward you. See, Dhruva Maharaj approached Krishna with the desire to be have a kingdom bigger than his grandfather Brahma. And later, after having the darshan of Krishna, he didn't want that. Yeah, he even felt that I was searching for broken pieces of glass, and you are like a jewel. That's what he felt. But nonetheless, Lord Krishna awarded him the Dhruvaloka. Yeah, and recently we were doing this chapter on Diti and the Maruts. Yeah, Diti's desires were all fulfilled because she has approached the Lord. So that is the beauty of approaching the Lord, even with material desires. Yeah, they're purified and they're fulfilled beyond our expectations. Yeah. So that's the third leg of prayers. That is supplication. Yeah, revealing of one's heart. Can express to the Lord, I'm going through this pain, I'm going through this suffering. Kindly release me from this. And then the final leg is seeking forgiveness. Seeking forgiveness, just like in the 11th chapter, we see Arjuna sought forgiveness from Krishna. Oh, Krishna, you are a big person. I have just treated you as a normal person, and I slept on the same bed, and I shared food with you, and I treated you as a normal person. I beg forgiveness for the familiarity I showed. So, yes, this kind of cultivating this attitude of, seeking forgiveness is actually very important. Yeah. It puts us in our position. Yeah. So these are the four elements of prayers, starting with glorification, gratitude, followed by supplication, and then finally seeking forgiveness. So with this, I would like to end. So I'll just show the slides. Yeah. So glorification, here, the glorification of Lord is the essence of all prayers. Prayers begin by praising the Lord's greatness, His mercy, and divine qualities. Here is Arjuna seeing the Vishwarup of Lord Krishna, offers Queen Kunti offering her gratitude. Supplication. So, devotee does not pray for material benefits, he prays only for strength to serve the Lord. This is the ideal situation. But nonetheless, many times the devotees also, offer their sincere prayers to fulfill some desire that need not necessarily be spiritual. Like Queen Kunti asked Lord Krishna, please protect my sons, all the five Pandavas. Yeah, but later in her personal prayers to the Lord, she prays, Atha Vishveshva Vishwatma Vishwarupe Svakeshami Sneha Pasham Idam Chindi Dhram Pandishu Vrishnishu. Yeah, Sneha Pasham Idam Chindi. Please uh, cut down the material affection, between me and my swajanas. Yeah. Let the spiritual connection remain, certainly, but if there is any material element in that connection, please release me from that. Because that's something that's not in our hands. It comes by Lord Krishna's mercy. Sneha pasham idam chindi, drudham pandushu vrishnishu. So that's where, initially we might go with a material desire, but later a devotee regrets that material desire and seeks forgiveness. So this is also acceptable. And this is also much appreciated by the Lord. And it's a natural sequel of following pure bhakti. And finally, forgiveness. Like if you see our Sikshashtakam, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavambudho. Yeah, I've fallen down into this dreadly ocean of material existence. Yeah. Kripaya tava pada pankaja sthita dhuli. Please let me be an atom at your lotus feet, O Krishna. Now, this is a sincere prayer offered. Our Sikshashtakam is such a beautiful collection of such deep prayers. And when we truly enter into the mood of this prayer, then you can see the magic of your chanting. Oftentimes we chant all the 8 verses of Sikshashtakam very eloquently with no grammatical errors, maybe religiously and regularly also. But when we try actually understanding the meaning of it, feeling it within our heart, when we say, I Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram, oh my Lord, I am your servant. Yeah. Kinkaram, I'm your servant. What does it mean? It's your, and actually, Sarvopadi Vinurmittam, we are just releasing ourselves all false designation and we are truly situating ourselves in our original constitutional position. if you're actually able to feel that before you're chanting, the quality of a chanting soars up to many, many levels. Patitam mam, I am fallen. When you truly understand how fallen we are, then we enter into the right mood to approach the Lord. Then we say, Kripaya, please, out of your mercy, let me be an atom at your lotus feet. So I will end here. So thank you all very much. So today, in the first session of Introduction to Prayers, I have spoken about how to make prayers a sadhana, yeah, a regular practice. And then later we have begun the series of Gajendra Moksha, and we understood who is Gajendra, what is his background, why is he in this distressful situation of being caught up in the jaws of the crocodile, and how in a situation of helplessness he turned to the Lord in full surrender. Yeah. And so two requirements for a prayer to be fruitful and effective: the attitude in which we offer prayers, and a background of conscious cultivation of a prayerful attitude and mood. And next is about, we discussed about the four elements of a prayer, starting with glorification, second is gratitude, third is supplication, and fourth is seeking forgiveness. And we have seen examples of each. I will end here. Any questions or discussion? Thank you for your attention.
Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, many a times because of lack of buddhi, like personally, I cannot remember anything. If for me to learn anything, any prayer or anything, it takes like a very long time. Even one shloka of Bhagavad Gita, I would take weeks just to memorize it. So for people like us, maybe because of lack of whatever, never we have prayed. But yes, there is a longing where I'm writing to Lord every night in my own ways. And so how can we really come in the mood of asking for? Because I think at my age now, only with His mercy can something be done about the memory part of it, where I can memorize these shlokas or prayers. Because even the Shiksha Ashtakam, I don't know, though I I know the bhav of the prayer, so I only remember the bhav. I do not know even one verse of that because I cannot. If I have to remember the verse, it will take me 6 months maybe. So like that, maybe so many things to is there to put, but nothing is. It will not come so easily, and so please help me, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Sarita Mataji. Uh, the honesty in your intent itself, I'm sure it has reached Lord Krishna. So that's the success. So that's what I would have begin my session by saying prayer is not merely eloquence, or it's not repetition of Sanskrit verses. It's about the heart. There's a book, a very famous book called Bhakti is the Affair of the Heart. It's got something to do with, I'm sure you have a very rich one. And so, what you would want to do in your personal practice, what you're doing right now as maintaining a journal and expressing your thoughts to the Lord, that's a very good habit, in fact. Journaling our thoughts and then approaching the Lord through written supplication. That's in itself is beautiful. I mean, if got the essence that you approached the Lord in the mood of glorifying Him, yes, for the linguistic ability that you have, it will flow as you're writing down. And gratitude is being aware of what's around us and what Lord Krishna is supplying so unconditionally, the air, we breathe, the water we drink, just being so conscious about that. Yeah. Like, for example, let's say Bhagavad Gita is saying, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. That is, I am the taste in water. So we might not get that Sanskrit verse, Rasoham apsu kaunteya, but the translation, nobody can miss it. Krishna is saying, I am the taste in water. Amazing. So how do I see that in my regular life? Yeah. So being conscious of that truth, that in itself is a prayer. So the Sanskrit word is, that's fine. But we are conscious of this truth every time we're having water. We remember Krishna. No, that is Krishna consciousness. So that will definitely help one. And it is that mood, finally, it is which helps a person even at the time of death. In the 8th chapter, Krishna says, Yam yam vapiswaram bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram. In whatever state of consciousness one leaves this body, he will attain that state. Here we were speaking about the state. So state is the mood, the consciousness. So we are in a consciousness of remembrance of Krishna. So in our next life is guaranteed that we are born as devotees. So the state has something to do with internal churning, internal dependence, and internal surrender. And it is totally fine if we're not able to catch up with the Sanskrit. Absolutely fine. No worries. And I'm sure for the richness of heart that you have, Krishna will be immensely pleased to offer all benedictions. Hare Krishna. Yes, somebody has written something on the chat. Please suggest a prayer for putting best study efforts for career change. Haribol. Kavya, why don't you compose one? Best study efforts for career change. Arey, yeah. You've given Krishna a lot of. You hardly gave him an option to choose. Fine. So here you're seeking help from Krishna to give you direction, right? You're seeking direction. So when you're seeking direction, again, you follow these, what I have spoken about, the 4 Omega nouns. So you're okay, all students here. So this is fine. Okay, first I will tell you what doesn't work and what works. Okay, so what doesn't work, let's start with that. If you see, in the time of examination, the temples are flooded with so many students. Right? Throughout the year, they haven't studied. And finally, said, Krishna, only you can do something, but, make me pass. So there are many students who actually offer these prayers. Yes, it's good that finally at least they remembered Krishna. And yes, okay, Kanika is I think she's getting late for she lives in Boston, so it might be really late for her. I just wanted to introduce her to you. In fact, this whole program started with her request for having some sessions like this. She's a very, very enthusiastic devotee, and she's in a place with, Boston is a place where Srila Prabhupada has first landed in the US, yeah, after having written the Jaladuta prayers. So it's a very, very apt place to connect how the power of prayers truly manifest in the lives of pure devotees. Yeah, and so thank you, Kanika, for that request, because of which this whole session has started, and let us do whatever justice we can do. Just wanted to introduce her to all of you. And she's also going to post all the prayers of Gajendra. Every prayer will be posted as a document, like Gajendra Moksha prayers. There are about 28 prayers. And the next 7 sessions, we're going to discuss 4 prayers per session. So all these prayers will be sent as a document. She has wonderfully documented them. They'll be posted. And every session, you can just go through those prayers. Prayer and the translation are also there. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Kanika, for...
Thank you, Mataji. All glories to you. Thank you for doing these sessions and helping all of us.
There you go. It's my pleasure. And when we start Sunday with this contemplation, the remaining part of the week is taken care of. So it's Sunday morning and I think it's Nityananda Trayodashi for Kanika, and it's Magh Purnima. Today is a very auspicious day. It's called Madhurotsav, and it's the appearance day of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Actually, if you see, Narottam Das Thakur has written an amazing book called Prarthana. So in this Prarthana book, there are different kinds of prayers. Lalasamayi Prarthana, Dainya Bodhika, it's different, prayers are also of different types, even in pure devotee realm. And Dainya Bodhika, humbling oneself. And Lalasamayi, seeking, having an intense desire for perfection. Yeah, Gauranga Bolite Habe, Pulaka Sharira. When by chanting the names of Gauranga, my hairs will stand on end. This is a prarthana, Lalasamayi prarthana. Yeah, then there is Dainya Bodhika, then there is Vijnapti, Sakhi Vrinde Vijnapti. No, there is Morai Abhilash, Vilas Kunje Yogas. So, the desires of devotees are not ordinary. They are like, my desire is straight away be in the kunjas of Lord Krishna, and my eyes are always visualizing the divine couple, Radha and Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. So, devotee settles for nothing less than this. So, so that's today's appearance of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And what is Madhura Utsav? Magh Purnima, just like there's Sharad Purnima, which is Ras Leela celebrated by Vrindavan Vasis, the Brajvasis. The Magh Purnima is the Ras Leela celebrated by Bengalis. So it is a very, very sweet and auspicious day, an apt day for offering suitable prayers. If time permits, please go through the prayers of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Kanika. So I'll end this with completing the request of Meghna and other students. So when you're really wanting to pray for direction in your studies, in your education, in your career, express your heart threadbare in front of the Lord. This is the confusion I'm going through. Yeah, please, you only have to sort out. Yeah. And for that, pray regularly, pray sincerely, expressing your helplessness, expressing your confusion. See, oftentimes we cry, but we don't know where to cry. If you understand the art of crying and where you have to shed your tears, your problem of lives are, it's sorted for good. Simply cry in front of Krishna. Yeah, this is what I'm going through. Please give me, direction. So Arjuna, when he lost direction, he approached Krishna. So the problem is we really don't approach Krishna in the right mood and in the right intensity. That's why we do not get answers. I had a lot of confusions regarding my career, but the clarity that I received later was, it's really the mercy of the Lord. Yeah. So every sincere prayer is answered. Have that faith and approach the Lord in that sincerity and make prayers a regular cultivation, as I was telling, following these 4 steps and see how it changes your life for good. Yeah. There is no problem that Krishna cannot solve in your career issue, and it's a small thing. Yes. Hare Krishna. Kavya and Meghna, hope this answers. Yes. Thank you all very much. Nice meeting.